Welcome, I'm Bev Adams. I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up. This is the card I'm going to show you today. I think I'm going to make a couple of alterations on this card and we'll see which ones we prefer. My stamp set is Detailed with Love, and I'm going to use some Graceful glass. I love this designer vellum. It's got a lot of patterns to it. I am cutting a 2-inch strip, so I'm thinking that these patterns are going to work best, maybe this one. My cardstock is Bermuda Bay. It's 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4, basic card base. I have 2 pieces of Whisper White that are 5 1/4 by 4, and then a 2 by 5.5 inch strip of the designer vellum. This vellum is embossed with black on one side. I like to start coloring on the back side, but we may end up coloring on both sides. I actually cut this at 6 inches so that I can decide where on my paper I want it to go, depending on the pattern. My inks are Night of Navy, and the blends, I got out the combo pack for Rich Razzleberry, Bermuda Bay, Night of Navy, and I may or may not use the Smoky Slate, and I may need the color lifter as well. I will also be using the Stamparatus. This card uses what's called the step method for the Stamparatus, and for this one I didn't re-ink each time, so I wanted the middle one to be the darkest, and then I stamped back and forth without re-inking it. I have seen some very lovely cards using that method, but usually they are bolder prints and larger, so that you only have like 3 different stamps that fit on the page. I'm not sure I really like it getting quite this light. This time I'm going to try re-inking and see which I like better. Detailed with Love is a red rubber stamp, and I'm using Let's Celebrate. And I am also going to be using this for my envelope. I found that this stamp is exactly the size between the hinges, and so this works perfectly. This is a red rubber stamp, so I do not need the foam piece that comes with the Stamparatus. I am using my magnet sheet and window sheet shim, so I can go all the way in the corner. This image is about the same height as the hinges, so it works perfectly. And just set it down, pick it up, and make sure I press here to make sure I've got a good connection. I'm going to ink up my stamp. So I'm going to, the step method, I just pick it up, move it down, and ink it again. Pick it up, move it 1 step down, ink it again. And repeat until I get to the bottom of my card. Perfect fit, yay! The chamois works great for cleaning this off. I'm going to stamp my envelope, so I want to put it all the way up at the edge to make sure that the envelope is straight. And because that fold, I want to have my magnet close to that. set my stamp down about where I want my row of stamping. Close it. And I want to be sure that I have my stamp straight, so those lines on the Stamparatus are really helpful for this. So I'm going to ink up my stamp, close it, and this image is 2 hinges, so I'm moving 2 hinges down, re-inking it, and moving 2 hinges down. And I have a perfectly aligned border. I want to stamp Happy Birthday in the middle of my card. I could certainly use a block for this, but there are some really huge advantages for the Stamparatus. I honestly think it's cheaper than a whole collection of blocks. And if you don't get a perfect image, it's easier to get a perfect image, and if you don't, you can always just stamp again. So I'm stamping Happy Birthday right in the middle. Next I'm going to do my coloring, and I'm turning over my paper to the wrong side, and I think I'm going to make it easy for myself and do some coloring. I see these 3 chevrons. I think I want to put the rich raspberry in the middle. So I'm going to start with the light Bermuda Bay on the top V. And I think I want it bolder. So I'm going to switch to the darker one. I am using the brush tip. Nice. And then I am going to use the dark rich raspberry for the middle. And I'll finish up with the Night of Navy. I was just looking at this and thinking it would be interesting to color one side of this light and one side dark. That might be very pretty. And I want to try just getting a row of that really is too light. These colors are bolder on regular paper. I think I like this. And we'll turn it over and see how we like it. I like it. I do see a little bit of oopsie here, so I am going to use the color lifter. It's called the color lifter, but I like to call it the color pusher. One thing about vellum is it's a little bit tricky to adhere without the adhesive showing. So I am going to use a little bit of green glue and a Stampin' Sponge. And a little goes a long way. And so I'm going to adhere this onto my white cardstock. And I do want to move this up a little bit. Perfect. And I'll just trim off the other side. I'm going to tie this black cord around. Now I find that this black cord has, it's not one of those things that's really easy to tie. I want my bow about here, so I'm going to put just a glue dot there. And wrap this around. Then I'm going to put another glue dot on top, and hopefully that should keep my knot tight. I could even add another glue dot here to make sure. In fact, I think I will put one more glue dot in there, just to be sure. And then I don't think that's going anywhere. And then just adhere this to the card front. You could certainly use dimensionals if you'd like. And some adhesive on the inside. Mike, quiet. Leave it. And that's it. Wanted to highlight these dots, so I'm putting rhinestones on those. So what do you think? These are the two cards that I made. I do think with this stamp set, I like it better inking all the way down. If you would like the directions for this project, come on over to bevadams.com. Here is the link for you for this particular project, and you can also look on the YouTube video in the description below. Thank you for stopping by. Talk to you soon.